Hello, I'm Tara Benwell, and this is my novel, The Proper Order of Things. I'm going to read you a chapter today, and I hope you enjoy. Okay, Chapter 1. Mother. Mother always said there was nothing special about being called a sweetie pie. All pies are sweet, she would say, and not one of us would disagree. It wasn't that we didn't know about the chicken pot or mincemeat kinds. We had seen them in the grocery store flyers that lined the ditch along Royal Creek. It's just that we weren't allowed to talk about things like trash in our family, so we didn't. Mother didn't like names like honey or pumpkin either. She said those were for people who didn't put enough thought into their own babies' names. Either that or men who didn't have babies of their own. The worst thing a man could do around Mother was to call her child a baby cake. Mother didn't sit around for hours sorting through Neil Diamond lyrics to find the perfect names for us, just so some stranger could call us whatever he damn well pleased. Dad said my name came from the song about the good times. Sweet Caroline. I knew when he said it that the good times came before I was born. Just tell me one thing, Mother. Why do I get to pick and the others get to do as they're told? I asked. It's just that you're special, Caroline, Mother told me from the floor inside her bedroom closet. We looked like freaks, Mother and I, sprawled among the shoe boxes, eating strawberries and fake cream. Whipped dream, the kind that squirts out in waves and never goes bad for 7 more years. Mother had called me to her bedroom, hissing my name from the wedge in her half-opened door, jiggling the coiled stopper until I looked up. All I could see through the crack of light were the red treats and her index finger motioning me away from my favorite episode of Family Feud, September Baby, the one where the host asks, "During what month of pregnancy does a woman begin to look pregnant?" And the contestant answers, "September." I don't think any of us kids got why it was funny back then, seeing as those were the days when Mother looked pregnant almost every month of the year. Just watching the game show host crack up that much got us every time, though. And besides, there was nothing better than seeing a grown-up laugh harder than a kid. "You're gonna miss it," Desiree had said as I got up off the floor and walked towards Mother and Dad's room. We all knew the baby question was coming up right after the commercial. I told her it wasn't even funny anymore, but Neil shushed us and waved me away, meaning that everyone better laugh as hard as usual, even without me in the room. When I got closer to the bedroom, I knew I had to wash my hands because Mother was doing that thing where she wiggled her fingers in front of her chin as if there was something hot in her mouth. "How do you mean special?" I asked. I knew the others would never let me forget about this day. This wasn't about getting to pick what flavor of frosting Mother used for some movie star's birthday cake. This was about how I wanted to grow up, or more importantly, who I wanted to grow up with. I licked the red fuzz from my front teeth, careful to collect any evidence of seeds while I waited for her to answer. Why me? I wish she'd used the word small instead of special, or even petite, like Chester's mom had called me, the time she braided my hair right from the top of my head, pulling small bits from each side as she worked her way down. Mother had ripped out the braid the moment I got home, saying it hurt her eyes the way it went all crooked like a broken bone. It was true that the braid went off to the left, almost right from the start. Chester's mum had shown me how to look at the back of my head using 2 mirrors. She said if I kept the braid in all night, I would have waves in the morning, like her. I never got the chance to tell her that your hair goes crinkly like French fries if you only leave it in for a few minutes. Mother showed me her teeth, and I nodded to say that there were no strawberry seeds showing. "You know, like the special that means a good kind of different," Mother said. She picked out one of the larger berries and filled her mouth with it. As she chewed, she took all the green strawberry tops and arranged them in perfect rows in the lid of a shoe box. Her tongue licked her whole mouth clean before she spoke. Then she told me I had a few hours to decide where I wanted to do the rest of my growing up. I could stay in my own home with her and the little ones, or move with Dad and the others to a flat in stinkin' Waterloo. Kitchener, I said. Waterloo is where Chester moved, Mother. You keep mixing them up. Maybe you need to say it over a bunch of times or something. Kitchener. Just remember the kitchen, not the loo. Same difference. They're both the city, Caroline. I knew it was a divorce, even though Mother and Dad never gave it a name. Divorce was one of those invisible words that didn't exist until it suddenly mattered. It popped up everywhere the summer before it happened. You had to turn the page or hum a loud tune to get rid of it. Sometimes even the clouds looked like a divorce. The others had been assigned a home the night before. In the morning, Desiree had pulled me up into the kids' room and asked me which envelope had been on my pillow. What do you mean, which envelope? Mother's or Dad's, she wrote on her palm with her finger. She always whispered her secrets in finger writing. Even though it looked like it was only us in the room, you could feel at least one other kid hiding nearby, and you could never tell for sure who was siding with Neil. I didn't get any envelope, I told her, but she didn't believe me. I sat on the floor by the book tower Rosie had made before breakfast and watched Desiree hunting through all 7 beds, pulling off the pillows and sheets and then putting them back, smoothing the creases and wrinkles as best she could. I told you, I didn't get an envelope, I said again, after Desiree wrote Neil in capital letters on the ticklish part of my back. We both knew the book tower would come toppling down if she called Neil in. If the sound woke up Melinda, we'd have to scrub walls in wide circles to help put her back to sleep. Come on, Caroline, even the baby got one, Desiree said out loud. Desiree took me into Mother and Dad's room to show me the mini envelope that was still inside Melinda's crib. Inside was a tiny slip of paper that said in Dad's handwriting, "You'll live with Mother." Desiree had already told me that her note was written by Mother and that it said she'd be moving with Dad. I'm sure Neil is playing a stupid joke. What'd you do to him this time, she asked, shaking her finger up and down as if she were older than me. Desiree was a year and a half younger than me, but people thought she was the older one. She was only an inch or so taller for most of grade school, but Neil always made us compare our hand sizes. The top joints on Desiree's finger curled right over mine, even when our palms were lined up perfectly. Mother said there would come a day when I would be thankful that I looked younger than my age. The Queen still hasn't lost her baby face, Mother always said. If you took me out of the family, the others all lined up properly. Tallest to shortest, oldest to youngest, according to their birth month. When the midwife had trouble remembering who came first, Mother always reminded her how to use her knuckles and count out the months, like teachers taught us to do, to find out which months had 31 days. Start with the knuckle on your left pinky and work your way across. Don't use the thumbs, Neil liked to remind Marie, and don't include Carol's swine. She screwed up everything by coming in July. That's all for now. I'll read you some more another time. Thanks for listening.